Hello young learners! Welcome to this video. My name is Meljurie and you can call me Teacher Mel. How are you young learners? I hope you're doing very well and in good health. So for today's lesson, I am going to teach you all about the elements of the narrative text for grade 5 English. Before that, I will state you the objectives of this lesson. Learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, 85% of the students will be able to identify the elements of a narrative text, write a story using the elements of a narrative text, and value the lesson of the story. So here's our class rules. Focus on the video. Listen attentively. Create a quiet and comfortable study place. Before I proceed to the discussion, I'm going to read you first a short story. The short story is about the lion and the mouse. Are you familiar with the story? Okay, then listen to me and focus on the video. Once when a lion, the king of the jungle, was asleep, the mouse began running up and down on him. This soon awakened the lion, who placed a huge paw on the mouse and opened his big jaws to swallow him. "Pardon, O king," cried the mouse. "Forgive me this time. I shall never repeat it, and I shall never forget your kindness. And who knows, I may be able to do you a good turn one of these days." The lion was so tickled by the idea of the mouse being able to help him that he lifted his paw and let him go. Sometime later, a few hunters captured the lion and tied him to a tree. After that, they went in search for a wagon to take him to the zoo. Just then, the little mouse happened to pass by. On seeing the lion's plight, he ran up to him and gnawed away the ropes that bound him, the king of the jungle. "Was I not right?" said the mouse, and is very happy to help the lion. The end. Did you enjoy the story? Very well. Then I'm going to ask you some questions. Who are the characters of the story? Correct. The characters of the story are the lion, the mouse, and the hunter. Where do you think the story happened? Correct. The story happened at the jungle. What did the hunters do to the lion? Correct. They captured the lion and tied him to a tree to bring him to the zoo. Why did the mouse help the lion? Correct. The mouse helped the lion because the lion set him free and he promised to help him in the future. Is it good to be kind to other people just like the mouse did to the lion? Correct. It is good to be kind. And that is the moral of our story. Being kind is the value that we should have. What have you noticed with the story that Teacher Mel read? Yes, we have the characters, we have the place, we have the moral of the story too. Then, Let's head on further with a discussion. These are the elements of the story. We have the settings, characters, conflict, theme, and plot. Now let's get to know these elements of the story one by one. But what is a narrative text? When we say narrative text, this contains stories. It's either on a written text. And the most fundamental components of a storyline are the settings, characters, plot, conflict, and theme, like the story that I read earlier. So understanding these aspects provide the reader with an appreciation for the short story's purpose. Settings. Settings means when or where does a story take place. The word setting includes not only where the story takes place, but also when it happens, as well as the people and culture that live in the world where the story takes place. So in the settings, we have the place. What was our place earlier in the story? Yes, we have the jungle. That is an example of settings. A settings can be at the park, at the beach, at the school, and everywhere in a place. We have the character. A character is a person, animal, or anything personified who acts in the plot of a short story or other literary work. Through characters, readers can experience the world that the author has built. So these characters are the people or animal in the story. For example, we have the lion and the mouse, the hunter, as our example. So what you see in this picture is also an example of characters. And characters can also be in a fantasy, in a science fiction, anything. What we see here is we have the woman, we have girl, we have a dog, we have a strong man, and another fantasy character. That is an example of a personified character that acts in a plot. It's a fruit, but it's alive. That kind of personification. We have two types of characters in a story. We have the protagonist and the antagonist. The protagonist is the good guy or heroine of the story. So they are the main character, just like Batman. Do you know any other protagonist? Next is the antagonist. The antagonist is the bad guy or the villain of the story. For example, we have the Joker. An example too is the pirate from the Peter Pan. Can you name any other antagonist or the villain of a story? Plot. Plot is made up of events that happened in the story. It consists of the beginning, middle, and end. The plot is in charge of making sure that every important part of the story is in place so that the reader can understand it and can move forward. So, an example for the plot is the story The Lion and the Mouse. Those are plot, the arrangement of the story from start, middle, and end. Beginning. It gives the problem faced by the main character. For example, we have the mouse who was trapped under the lion's paws. Next is the middle. This represents the action made by the characters to solve the problem. Ending. It gives solution to the problem. An example for this is when the mouse helped the lion free from capture by biting the ropes and letting him escape. Conflict. Conflict is any challenge that a character faces in a narrative story. In short, the conflict is a struggle between two people or objects. This also means that this is the problem that the protagonist is going to face. Mostly, the villain creates the conflicts for the protagonist to face or solve. Lastly, we have the theme. The theme is the main idea of this story, usually expressed as a generalization. It tells the readers what the story is all about. For example, we have the Lion and the Mouse story earlier, so our theme is all about helping and being kind. So that is an example of the theme. That was the elements of the narrative text. What are those 5 elements again? We have the character, we have the setting, we have the conflict, plot, and theme. Now, remember these 5 elements because you're going to use it later on our activity. I'm going to give you some activities. We have the activity 1. This is the identification. You can write your answers on your notebook or a paper. Then we're going to check it later on. So you can pause the video if you're still answering. Activity number 2. Read a story titled The Ant and the Grasshopper. After reading the story, summarize the elements using the graphic organizer. Use one whole sheet of paper to answer. And then the graphic organizer is provided in this video. You can just copy it and fill in your answers. Finally, for your assignment, create your own story using the elements, settings, character, conflict, plot, and theme. Write your story in one whole sheet of paper. You can choose what genre you like. You can use any characters, but you have to follow the elements carefully. Good luck and see you next time. Hello students, good job! You made it through this video. I hope you learned a lot about the session for today. I am Teacher Mel and I am very proud to say that you completed this lesson. Thank you and have a good day. Remember, great stories are built on compelling characters, plots, and theme. Have a good one.